we were in Haiti a couple years ago, and we came into this little town where they were doing inaugurating a new pump, and which is a really joyful kind of time, and everybody's celebrating this great thing that's happening, and I sat down and talked to this little girl. She was 13, and at the time my oldest was 13. So instantly, once you have kids, it's impossible not to see their face in every child you see, and I said to this little girl, well, how much time were you spending collecting water? And she said, it was about 3 hours a day. I said, 3 hours a day? So what are you going to do now that you have all this time? Like, what are you going to do your homework? And she looked at me and she goes, I don't need more time to do my homework. And I went, oh, really? And she goes, I'm the smartest in my class. And the way she said it was like, I knew she was the smartest in her class, right? So I go, oh, well, okay, but you have this extra 3 hours. What are you going to do? And she looked me right in the eyes and she goes, I'm going to play. So it was wonderful to know that this little girl was going to have time to play, like every 13-year-old girl should have. But you think about the hundreds of millions of kids for whom that's not an option. And not only do they not have that 3 hours to play, they might not even be in school because they're scavenging for water. And so it's not just a life or death issue, it's a quality of life issue.
Your mother used to take you on trips to see poverty in other countries. That clearly must have had a huge effect on you.
Yeah, and it's something my wife and I talk about with our kids. Our kids are growing up with quite a bit more privilege than my wife or I did, and so we talk a lot about what are the ways to help them understand and give them some context for the world that they're living in and their place in it. And I think back to those trips with my mother as some of the most important and instructive kind of lessons that I had as a young person. And so that's something I definitely want to pass on to my kids.
Where did she take you?
She took me to Mexico and Guatemala. We would go during the summers when I was in high school, and we'd go to language school. So we'd live in Mexico. We'd go to Cuernavaca, and we'd study Spanish during the day, and then we'd live with a family. So it was kind of a full immersion program. But you're also you're not removed. You're not in a hotel. You're not you're not allowed to speak English, and you're interacting with real people, and you kind of join a community for those weeks or months, and then subsequently in Guatemala we did the same thing, and for an American kid you see a lot that you don't see up here in America, and it's a really helpful thing without having somebody lecture to you. It's just travel is just such a beautiful thing, a gift for a kid to just, without even trying to teach him a lesson, just let him be in that world and walk around in a different place, and those lessons just come.